here over on Subscribe Star. So the Last of Us race swap. The Mary Sue has a problem with The Last of Us. We need to talk about it, or not. They usually start by they say some horrific thing that everyone would be opposed to, and they say, and that's a good thing. Like, no, I think the people who write these magazines are just mentally deranged. We don't have to obsess about race nonstop. Can you imagine just taking a break from this current Weimar culture war? But there seems to be there's like right wing accelerationists which are kind of better known, but there is also this left wing inadvertent accelerationists where they are all gas, no brakes. And it's sort of a shame, but we there's no way of stopping this train. So, as I go through this article, she mentions those istophobic hot words. I think she mentions them a dozen times. If you asked to have a conversation with these people without deflection or ad hominem, they couldn't have it because they ultimately don't have an argument. That's why they're so focused on censorship and deplatforming. Because yeah, I mean, the truth doesn't fear investigation. If you know you think you have a better argument, you feel pretty comfortable about putting it out there. These people, and that's kind of a reason why they say the left can't meme, is because they can't boil down the large body of the work to a summary and then to a précis because it's based on dishonesty, and they have to have these convoluted arguments to get you away from the central core dogma, because the central core dogma doesn't make sense. So these people are literally fomenting a civil war, and they either don't care or Dunning-Kruger can't see what they're doing. You will never see Leishman at the Mary Sue become self-aware. At this point, I think they're incapable of it. Anyway, so if I have this right, The Last of Us has a blonde girl, a European girl, dare I say it, a beautiful person of the light. So people are connected to the character, and reading to the discussion on Twitter, when people wonder why the character is swapped, they immediately get ad hominem attacked. But to be fair, the comments against blackwashing are getting hundreds of likes. It seems to be the accuracy side guys who are more focused on details, much more so than the guys who are focused on the cultural Marxist side of the situation. Though you can read the Twitter and you can go through their post history to see kind of who they are. Go through my post history if you want a good laugh. The thing is, there are people who are kind of what I would call normies who are also awakening to this situation. They're like there's surprising amount of types of conversations that are happening even on Twitter. But in general, blackwashing is wearing thin. Then when it's discussed, they call you istophobic, which doesn't make sense. They prefer to see an African character replace a European character, but the people want to see the original character. It's not istophobic to want to see the original character. They're just trying to use Marxist fear based social conditioning to compel behavior. It's not a new character, and the character didn't start as a pox. It was a blonde haired, blue eyed character, which is one of the most rare combinations on Earth. Dark hair, dark eyes are 1,000 times more common. They don't actually have an argument about why they would blackwash a blonde character. They have cultural Marxism and ad hominem attacks. They want to see a non-European character. The other people want to see the original European characters. Yet in the SJW framing, the people who don't want to see their tribe replaced are subject to these cultural Marxist pejorative attacks. There really is no way to have this discussion with them because it's an appeal to emotion or appeal to Frankfurt School social pressure. The character is blonde-haired, blue-eyed, the ultra-rare person of the light. They replaced her with the opposite. That is a bait and switch. When they say it's unacceptable, their only argument is deflect and ad hom because they know that this is just coming from the Bolshevik playbook. Let's be real. They did not have an open casting call and just magically pick the best actor because the casting call should have been for blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls, or at least people. The eye color is probably more critical. I guess the hair color you could dye it if you wanted to, but you know what I mean. People who could fit the role. They start and they go, "Why aren't you impressed about the other characters?" Because the OP original poster brought made brought up the issue of this character. If the Pedro Pascal character was brought up, then we would be discussing him. the OP brought this character up. It's like the people in the comments, these Twitter SJWs, like they don't even know what they're arguing about. I mean, I've heard them do this with so many things. Recently, I heard them do it with Star Wars, which is so triggering. When it finally gets to the point, and you look at them and go like, you haven't watched the original movies, have you? Because you're missing like central core dogma, foundational dogma of the story when you don't remember some of the things that were in the original film. It's like saying like a motorcycle would win NASCAR next year. It's like you're talking to the person, you realize they just don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, so there's no way to have this discussion with them because it's like they're so brainwashed by cultural Marxism. It's like they think they can deflect and ad hom and appeal to just calling people istophobic, that they'll never have to go beyond that, like to justify their foundation or build up their foundation, justify their argument, anything more than just saying it's just going in an ad hoc. Yikes, my guy, touch grass. You're so pressed about this. Why are you so focused on this? Yikes, my guy. It's like none of those address the central tenet of the argument. Those are ad homs and deflections, and there, I mean, a bunch of other logical fallacies too. But you know that you're not addressing the apex of the argument when you say those kind of things. So they didn't yeah, you should have been searching for a blonde-haired, blue-eyed actor. They started off knowing that they were going to do this. Thing is, it's not that deep. They really just hate blonde-haired, blue-eyed people of the light, and people are awakening to that because you've seen it 100 times before. They say the ethnicity doesn't matter, except it matters to some people, and clearly it matters enough to change it to replace the blue-eyed minority with the black-eyed majority. The thing is, this is a pattern of an anti-white bait and switch. You use the blonde-haired, blue-eyed character to sell it. Then when it comes time to update it, you replace the European character with an African instead of, people just ask them, like, why didn't you just put the African character in the game to start with instead of the bait and switch? And they never ask them that question because they probably don't want the answer. How do you think the Europeans feel when they get... Now, keep in mind, the blonde hair, blue-eyed, those are an ultra-rare minority on the planet. How do you think those people feel when they get marginalized, disenfranchised, and oppressed with this dehumanizing behavior? Yes, we can use their language against them because all this stuff ultimately is appeal to emotion. Yes, the person's ethnicity plays an important role because it is who they are. Every part of who they are is their ethnicity and their sex. It is 15 billion years of development to get to that unique individual. But we're at the stage of cultural Bolshevism where people pretend not to know what a woman is, an adult human female. 20 years ago, 200 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 20,000, 200,000, even 2 million years ago, back in the days of Lucy, I think they knew what a woman was. But they pretend not to know. Even a left of the bell curve Supreme Court justice doesn't know what a woman is because her puppet masters didn't give her her talking points, which is like she lied to us because you know that she knows what a woman is. So again, no, you're not going to vote your way out of this because voting got us here. And when it matters, then voting becomes a moot issue. The last point is that all these istophobic hot words are not real. They are recent developments. They're not organic terms. They're used by globalists to compel behavior through fear. The right loses when they say that they're not the real istophobes, that the left is the real istophobes. You lose by accepting their terms and allowing them to set the boundaries, not the syntax, maybe the nomenclature. The terms themselves are used by globalists to subvert, corrupt, and control. When Greenblatt at the ADL, the SPLC, ACLU can change these terms overnight, then no, they're not real terms. They're communist manipulation terms. They are appeal to emotion, mass psychological manipulative control terms. You have to reject the terms themselves. And ultimately, we have to reject the message about these Bolshevik anti-white propaganda films. They have a narrative, or films, comics, video games, cartoons, whatever they're pushing. They have a narrative to push, and we have to offer a counter narrative to these people. Rochelle Leishman. Rochelle Leishman was the other one. It's funny because, like, I read her, I can't help but thinking, like, oh. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next episode.